I would like you, however, to write your name on it. Do you have a felt tip pen? I do. So I'm going to turn around. When I do, I want you to write your card not on this side of the card, your name, but on the other side. Just your first name and very large letters would be helpful, okay? And then I'm going to ask you some questions, and based on the astrological significance of those answers, I'm going to determine something about something. Have you done that so far? Almost. Almost. Take your time. Good. May I have the pen back? I'm not a wealthy man. All right. So the first of the many questions I'm going to ask you is to tell me the date of the month you were born on, but don't answer just yet. May I have the card? I'm going to ask you for the date of the month, which means I don't want the year, and I, oddly enough, don't even want the month. So if you were born on the 15th of March, you'd say 15. So what date would that be?
9.
9. So that means you have to make 14 piles with the cards quickly. Would you do that? Because 14 equals 9 in the mysterious triangle of Eichlon. Quickly, though, this is dead time. No, you're doing very well. You're doing well, but just keep moving. So, all right, were you born in January?
No.
No. How many piles do you have here?
11.
11. Well, 12 is just perfect. So, you weren't born in January. Take away any 2 piles quickly. Good. Were you born in March?
No.
Take away 1 pile. Were you born in February?
No.
Take away 2 piles. Were you born east of the Mississippi? It's a maybe. Take away 3 piles. How many piles do you see on the table?
4.
Take away any pile now. Yet, mysteriously, 4 piles remain. Do you read the classics? Take away 1 pile. Who killed Laura Palmer? Take away 3 piles. Were you born under a picture of Balzac? In that case, take away 4 cards. Ladies and gentlemen, by a strange process of elimination so peculiar, I myself am amazed. We are left with 1 card and my favorite phrase, 1 card only. For the first time, would you mention the card you selected?
King of Spades.
With your name on it, that's okay, I had no intention of finding your card. That would be much too easy. But you are in luck because I have the only mind-reading toucan in the world. The toucan will find your card. We'll go into the center of these cards and we'll find 1 card. We'll narrow it down and find 1 card. Contact, yes, right there. Your card, the king. The king. Is your signature there?
No.
Why not? Oh, a different king. Oh, I'm sorry. This hippopotamus head will find your card. This hippopotamus head will move around and find your card. Look at that, using the famous key measurement system. Yes? No, I'll take that. That's a no. In this case, the snail will find your card. The snail will actually push out a card. It's going to go somewhere here, moving as snails do. A predator snail, moving as they do. Look at that, look at that. He's eating. Yes, absolutely no. That's a no. All right. So this turtle with the human head will find your card. Yes? No, that's a no. All right. This rabbit will find your card or die. Would you be surprised if your card was in this can of peanut brittle? So would I. I've been doing this since I was 4, never once as the card. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every strange person's life when he must get serious. For me, that time is at hand. Look, here is a case that I have not opened in a month. Inside, 1 brand new sealed pack of cards. Is your name, by any chance, Erin? I would take this as a very good sign. And is that your name on the King of Spades?
That's it.
Thanks so much. Let me help you back up. Thanks so much. If I could go back in history, and I can, the performer I would most like to see would be Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser, the famous Viennese card magician who charmed Victorian Vienna. Do you mind if I ask you to shuffle these cards as I chat for a moment? Dr. Hofzinser opened up a wonderful theater in Vienna. I actually have a card de visite of the doctor here. You can see that he's in a rather strange Napoleonic pose. I'm going to ask you to hold this, but gently. It's one of my prized possessions. And if I can also get the cards back from you. Hofzinser opened up a theater in the mid-years of the 19th century in Vienna, and he charged 20 golden ducats for admission. That's more than a common laborer earned in a year, just to see sleight of hand in a theater about a third of the size that we're in. Since you were also kind enough to shuffle, would you say stop at some point while I'm moving these cards like this? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to ask you to take that card in your own hand and show it up to a number of people. In 1851, at a state dinner, Dr. Hofzinser was present, and also at this particular dinner was a beautiful woman that none of the other diners had ever seen. And someone sitting next to her said, "My dear, you have lovely teeth." And the woman said, "Thank you, let me show them to you." And she called for a goblet, and one by one took the teeth out of her mouth and placed them in a glass, which was then circulated to the rather confounded diners. At one point, the glass wound up in front of Dr. Hofzinser. He covered it for an instant with his hand. When he lowered his hand, the teeth had vanished from the glass. He pointed to the woman who, with a dazzling smile, showed that they had returned to her mouth. It was in that way that he introduced his wife, Wilhelmina, to polite Viennese society. Hofzinser asked for all his props and effects to be destroyed at the end of his life. He thought he had no worthy successors, and if not for a German lawyer named Ottokar Fischer, this would have happened. But Ottokar Fischer painstakingly tracked down the early students of Hofzinser, a man named George Heubeck, another named Karl von Pappeschell, and collected the material in this volume. So it's really because of Ottokar Fischer that I'm able to perform for you my favorite of his many experiments, one which Dr. Hofzinser called Everywhere and Nowhere. Can I see the hands of the gentleman who selected the card, please? In the second row. And actually, I'm going to give you some cards and ask you to return it somewhere in this portion. Don't let me see it. And give them one final cut or shuffle if you'd like. And also to drop that here. Fine. And I actually am going to take the card de visite from you as well. And I must also confess that I use this photograph of Dr. Hofzinser in the proceedings. It makes it much harder to do this under the rather baleful glare of the doctor. But it shouldn't affect your enjoyment in one way or the other. So, if the gentleman would concentrate on the card, don't say anything, but do concentrate. Well, I'm going to make a definite statement here. Your card is one of these three. Apparently not the rousing denouement you were hoping for. Well, what would Dr. Hofzinser do in this situation? Well, he said that the most powerful magic on the earth was the power of a woman's gaze. So I'm going to ask that gentleman to point to a woman close by you who, from their seat in the audience, can help me complete the experiment. Would you do that for me? You're gesturing to the person at your side. For the benefit of those behind you who can't see your gaze, with your voice, would you identify for me, select one of the cards closest, in the center, or furthest away? Any one of those three. The center. And I'm going to ask you to stare at that card, and I'm telling you, if you do, it must be the card selected by the gentleman. So would you stare at the center card? Thank you. And you, sir, would you name the card which you selected?
Two of clubs.
Good.